down here in the cab of the RM500B, the cat reclaimer, and I'm just going to do a review on it. We've been using it for a little over a week now. It's just a rental from Ziegler Cat that we got to help us catch up on some of the work. Our Wirtgen WR240 is our main machine. We have a Cat RM350B that we use sparingly. Looking to replace that machine, hopefully with a Wirtgen 250. But thought I'd just give some thoughts on this machine. It does okay. It's helping out a lot, but there are some things that I don't really like, and there are some things I do like, quite frankly, that if they were incorporated in another machine, then it may be good. The first thing maybe you can notice up here in the cab is visibility is not that great. Out the front, it's hard to see down to where you're working. I have found it to be easy to just pick a point. Maybe it's the side of the hood or another point down on that pump right there, where you can just line up your last pass to make your next cut. There is a chain that hangs down the bottom there, and you just can't see it from the cab, so I just haven't been using it. In our RM350B, the chain is very visible. There's a huge door right here as you sit on this side of the cab, and you can see up the front pretty well. Different as the doors are on both sides on this machine. The cab is pretty nice. It's one of the things I do like is this seat spins, 180 almost. So depending on how you're sitting and how you're working, it does work pretty well. All the controls are pretty well too. You've got all your drum controls here, your up and down, your back gate, you open and close here, your front gates here. You've got cruise control speeds to set here. I do like that. And travel speed and your drum controls and stuff to get everything running. So the cab is pretty nice. That's pretty typical for Cat, I've found, with our Cat equipment compared to some of the other manufacturers. But we got a nice camera here for the front camera. It displays the one on the front of the machine, and there is one on the back when you're backing up, and also there's a camera facing the back of the drum, so you can kind of see what you're doing there. Like I said, visibility is a chief concern. Maybe if they put some glass here on these sides, that would be good. This cab does slide from side to side, so I do like that too, because you don't necessarily have to turn the machine around then to work a different side, so that's kind of handy. But if you're cutting curb, alongside curb or anything like that, I found that just hanging out the cab is the best way to see, so you can go down and see the edge of your drum right there. Otherwise, if you're sitting in here with the door closed, you can't really see what's going on. So this thing gets about a D in visibility, in my opinion. That's the big drawback that I don't like so far up here in the cab. The steering wheel is pretty handy. It's just kind of a turny wheel thing, but that works pretty well. Other than that, the cab is pretty nice, except for the few things like maybe they should have some glass here. But other than that, pretty good. So we're down on the ground now on the outside of the machine, and this kind of goes into the visibility thing I was talking about in the cab. But all these pumps, they're for injection or soil stabilization. They just are in the way of what you're doing. If they could find a better way to put them somewhere else or something, that would probably help out with the visibility issue. Here's the chain I was talking about. It's just on a little rod, and you can loosen it up and pull it out, and then your chain hangs down, and you just line that up in your cut so you know where you're going. But it's hard to see with all this stuff right here. The hood is very large in front, also plays into visibility. Also, you can't get tight to stuff either. I feel like the Wirtgen, you can get a little tighter in tighter areas and stuff instead of having this huge nose hanging out the front, but it is what it is. So coming around to the back, another major drawback is how this thing works. So it's got an engine and a transmission, and off the transmission comes a drive shaft, and a drive shaft spins an axle or whatever you call it right here, and then it's got a couple chains that go to here, and that spins the drum. So this machine's got about 540 horsepower, but by the time you get to the drum, you've lost a lot of horsepower. Our WR240 has 640 or something like that, but that has a belt right off the engine down to the drum, so you're getting all that 640, or pretty much all of it, right to the drum straight off the engine. So it's noticeably different. You can grind a lot more with the Wirtgen. This one struggles when you get in a deeper cut, and really just can't handle as much as that. So that is another drawback of this type of machine. Down under the drum now by the cutting teeth, and nothing really different about anything down here. It's pretty standard. One thing though that is nice on the Wirtgen machines is there is a air tank right about up here somewhere, you know, roughly in the same area, and you can hook your air line in, and then you've got your air line, and then you've got your air gun, and you can hammer out these bits. So you know, it makes it go a lot easier. This one obviously does not have that, so we've just been going around that by using our service truck has an air compressor on it, and we just have an air gun that we use. But if you're out there without that, it's kind of a bear. So that is one thing that this thing is lacking. Two is an onboard air compressor. That certainly would be handy. And that brings me to my next kind of complaint, is that to change bits on this machine, the engine has to be shut off. There's no compressor to run, so there's no reason to really have it on, but you need to have it off. So in the cab, you kill the switch, and then it goes into engine shutdown mode, where it's a delayed shutdown. A lot of our other equipment has it, and that's fine. It's a great feature, but when you're grinding roads like this and you want to keep moving, it's kind of detrimental. So because after you do that, you come in here, you put your locks on the gate, and then the lift cylinders, so it's all locked in, it can't crush you. And then you have to come over here into this cabinet here below the cab, and you hit this switch, and what that does is it kills the engine, and then it there's like an electric brake or something on here. It frees the drum up so you can spin it by hand, and check your bits and change them. Well, if you kill that switch while the engine's still running, that just defeats the purpose of a shutdown mode. So you just wait longer to change your teeth. Like I said, the Wirtgen, it stays running because it keeps the compressor going. Obviously, it just has a safety switch in there that it kills all controls, but the engine keeps running, and you can change your teeth, and you don't have to sit there and wait for the engine to shut down. So kind of in review here, the RM500B, it sounds like I'm dogging on it, and maybe in a ways I am, you know, compared to a Wirtgen, but really maybe it's not a fair comparison. Like I said, this has 540 horse, the Wirtgen has 640, the big 250s are over 700. But in review, the cab, the operator station is really nice. I like that. The seat spins and the controls are accessible and they make sense. Visibility in the cab is not good. Actually, overall, the whole machine, visibility is not that great. For tight areas and working along curb, it's just not ideal. Or if you've got a tight line you need to follow, you can do it. You just have to hang out the cab, and that's not great either. So engine shutdown to change teeth is kind of an issue. Also, no compressor on board. Don't like that either. So, you know, not gonna mince words. This thing is light years behind a Wirtgen. But that being said, I think this thing does have a place, you know, in the market, and I think, you know, Cat does make them. I think it's in stabilization. It doesn't really matter as long as you can line up your next pass. It doesn't matter. You don't have to see the greatest. You're not worried about getting tight to curbs or mailboxes or anything like that. You're just in a wide open field on a building site stabilizing. So I think it would be fine there. You don't need the same amount of horsepower as you do in a Wirtgen, because you're not grinding asphalt. You're just mixing dirt. So it would be fine for that. And I think that's primarily what this machine does, because it came up from Iowa. Ziegler has a few floating around, but I think they're mainly down there. So if you're looking to just maybe just do soil stabilization and mixing dirt, I think this machine would be fine. I'm not sure on the price, if it's significantly less than a Wirtgen, but if it is, it'd be something to look into if that's all you're going to do. If you're going to grind asphalt, then I think you gotta make the jump and jump into a Wirtgen, because you're going to notice it, and it's going to make a huge difference. So yeah, that's the RM500B. Not too bad of a machine, but not the greatest either. So yeah, that's the review here from Bartson. Thanks for watching, guys.